For announcing. He said I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with.
Well, well, well. This explains everything. For those that didn't hear the mic drop, Zuckerberg says to Trump, I didn't know if that was enough money that you for me to donate, so I just said 600 billion. Something like that. He's basically saying, I didn't know if that was a high enough number for you, and Trump's laughing. So you may wonder, well, what's that about? Well, when does tech ever give to the government or anybody? They're usually the ones looking for the handouts. And yet Trump went around that table to all those tech giants and said, and how much will you be giving to our country? And then I started thinking about it after seeing this, and I'm like, Bill Gates, his comment was interesting because he's when Trump got to him, he said, well, in the second half of my life, I'll be donating a lot of my money. I'm sure they would much rather have that deal than swing the death penalty, because they would easily have it coming. See, while everybody carries on about Epstein and trafficking and lists, the biggest traffickers, more than anybody, more than Epstein, more than anybody, is tech and their social media platforms. They are the biggest traffickers. Everybody thinks Elon Musk bought Twitter because he wanted to give free speech, and of course that's the way he presented it, but no. He bought it, and he bought it, even Trump said years ago, he bought it illegally, but he bought it to cover up the crime scene. See, Diddy was an investor into Elon buying it, because for those that don't know, Elon and Diddy were buddies, very close. Even Elon had said before, well, it was before Diddy was arrested, of course. Yeah, me and Diddy text every day. Oh, yeah, and he was an investor into Twitter. So was Jack Dorsey. But he did everything to get a hold of that. Why? Well, he really said it to Tucker Carlson. He said, when I bought Twitter, I didn't know I was buying a crime scene. Has he ever told you what that crime scene is? No. Because it's trafficking. Wanting to cover their tracks. And given that, and I did videos about this, that Elon bought 6 mansions all within 10 minutes. He did. Just Elon bought 6 mansions all within 10 minutes of Diddy's. And then he created that boring company. What was that? It was digging holes, digging underground holes. That's why all those mansions, because I did whole videos showing you where the mansions were. It made no sense. These are huge mansions. And I map quested every single one of them. 10 minutes to Diddy's, where he would have all of his rave parties. Then all of a sudden in, what was it, 2023, 2022, something like that, he all of a sudden just sold all of them. Yeah, and I wonder, I did videos, I said, I think he cut a deal. Because he suddenly just sold all of them, and then he was living at Tesla. So I think what I'm trying to say is all of these people around this table, they made deals. They would much rather give money back to our country than be executed, because they would have every reason to be executed. Will we ever know that? No, because I think when you cut a deal, it's not something that you have to be, it's a deal because, so it doesn't become public. And I think Trump is being very classy the way he's doing this. I mean, he could just be outing all of them. Think about it. This is why I wondered if Elon was made to do USAID. Look, Elon did not get on board with Trump until the assassination attempt in Butler failed. See, the media, all these people were tipped off. They were. CNN and MSNBC never run Trump's rallies, but they happen to run the Butler rally. Right. And so I think JFK Jr. or RFK Jr. and Elon were tipped off. And when it failed, they were the first two that were like right at Trump's doorstep. Because otherwise, I mean, I hear all the time how brilliant Elon is. Okay, if that's true though, then he should have been on board with Trump long before that. The only reason not to be on board with him is you're corrupt or you're a pedophile. So, that explains why all of these tech giants are giving money to the U.S. government. Hell, Donald Trump's going to have the national debt paid off with just that alone. I mean, literally, Mark Zuckerberg saying, "I didn't know if that number was enough for you." So, yeah, Donald Trump's the king in this show. The tech giants are the biggest traffickers. They are. It's not like it's never been reported, the kind of things they have let on these platforms, yet they silence everyday Americans. So, I think maybe a special deal was maybe made with Elon, but see, remember when he was, it's like he was in the White House to do the USAID thing for a certain period of time. But remember when he was complaining to Trump and he was like, they're attacking all my cars, they're destroying my business, and Trump's like, it'll be okay. It'll be okay, you'll come back from it. That's what he said to him. And everybody's thought, oh no, they're best buds. I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Am I saying he hates Elon? No. No, I'm not saying that. But Elon just was never on. He bought Twitter and Diddy invested in it because they wanted to cover up the crime scene. They knew Trump was going after the traffickers. So, while he carried on and convinced all right-wing media that he bought it because he wanted to give you free speech. Yeah, what a joke. So, but no, he literally had bought 6 mansions all within 10 minutes in Bel Air of Diddy's and then sold them. So it was almost like a deal was cut. Like long before, Trump was reelected, there was a deal cut. And I wonder if part of that deal was he had to do USAID. Because it's not just the trafficking, it's the authoritarian regime they wanted us to be under with AI. It's just foul. I mean, that's putting everybody in a system of slavery. So, yeah, is it being presented that this is about innovation? And I'm not saying it's not. But tech is always looking for the government or others to give them money. They're never the ones giving money. This is a lot of money. Zuckerberg said, I think he said 600 billion. And then look to Trump in the mic drop to wonder, I hope that was enough. They all cut deals. Everybody around that table cut deals. They were the bigger traffickers than any country, than any one person, than any intelligence agency. It was tech. Tech, the biggest traffickers in the world. And Trump got them all. Like he said in his first term, I caught them all. They all cut deals. And he's running this show, and they got to give all this money back. Or not give back. They have to pay all this money as part of their penalty. And that's really considering their penalties. That's getting off easy. Way to go, Trump. Man, the national debt will be paid off with all of that alone.